Are they here for the trailer duty?
Those are 7 words.
Oh, we still got a couple hours? Okay, so what are y'all basically here for? More prepping.
Mary Simpson's been waiting to save for years.
They said it's gonna be a couple of more hours and the trailer will be here, but okay, it's starting to get a little real now. Don't cry. It's starting to get real now.
The emotion comes from frustration.
I can't.
You can feel it if you rewind back just 20 minutes prior to this moment when we were interviewing Mary about the years she's waited to finally get home.
I thought I would have a roof over my head by now. I mean, like last year for Thanksgiving, no, you got another hiccup with you. No, got another hiccup come Christmas. When it comes, it comes.
In 2020, the Simpsons signed their contract with Rebuild Florida. Back then, the Department of Economic Opportunity was overseeing it. Now, it's known as Florida Commerce. Rebuild Florida was created through a partnership with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development to help Florida's long-term recovery efforts from recent hurricanes. Applicants approved to get their homes repaired or replaced, many of them low income or disabled.
I can't sit too long. I can't stand too long.
The state received $480 million from HUD, the Federal Housing and Urban Development Agency, to help less than 4,000 Florida homeowners repair or rebuild their homes. Mary never thought the program would take this long.
We can't afford to do our own thing, so we just keep trying to do our part of the contract. We keep the taxes paid up on it, and we just wait.
She's not alone. 10 Investigates quickly learned this problem was much bigger.
We're in 2024 and people are still waiting to be in their houses.
We, along with our partners at First Coast News, spoke to dozens of people across the state.
The state has known about this for 2 years, and what is being done to address this problem.
Frustrated, still waiting for rebuild.
This right here just keeps me worried all the time.
Regina Gill left waiting for an environmental review since 2021 as her roof deteriorates.
This, I can touch it and it'll fall off. There you go. That's my roof.
We uncovered contracts noting the process should take just months for repairs or replacement. But they do mention material and supply delays may impact this timeline.
You never thought it would be an empty lot this many years later.
Oh, no.
The timeline became too much for Brenda Hughes.
If you ask questions, no responses, constantly being ignored.
Her home was demolished in 2021. Contractors delivered a new home in 2022, but she says it was installed incorrectly, and another storm shortly after caused water damage inside. She spent 2+ years in 8 different hotels.
It's like $260,000 worth of HUD money.
Although records show the contractor charged Rebuild $187,000 for her project, more than double the original scope of work projection. Today, Brenda's old lot sits empty.
Now I don't even have a home. And I mean, it's really hard.
The wait, she says, left her with no choice but to file a lawsuit.
It's caused me anxiety because I don't know what the future holds. It's caused me a lot of anger, emotional distress. I hear other people and we're in tears all the time. It's just, we're not alone. There's others, that's going through the same thing.
Well, did you expect this, Jennifer? Did you expect this? I didn't expect this.
Back at Mary Simpson's property.
Good morning, baby.
For her, the wait may finally be over.
Mommy will be home every day.
Were you surprised by the reaction?
Yeah, we've been doing this for a couple months now, and I'd say pretty much every owner we come across, we share tears with them.
Ryan Lane, a foreman for Done Right Mobile Home Services, says they just came on board in January, working to get people in their home as quick as possible.
Are you surprised to hear that this process has taken some of them 4 or 5 years?
I mean, that's not really, we came in a couple months ago, so what happened before us, I don't really have a response for, because we weren't involved with it, but since we've been here, I mean, we try to close them out in 30 days as soon as we get a house on site.
A house Mary, whew, can't wait to make a home. And this is just the beginning of our statewide investigation waiting for rebuild.
Scope of work paper here that showed the original project of what it was supposed to be. We were supposed to have 3 ramps.
Jane Moore thought her prayers had been answered.
These are the ramps that were supposed to be originally built out the doorways. It was going to wrap around the front of the house and down the side by the carport.
Hurricane Irma left this Tampa couple with a leaky roof, and they weren't sure how they were going to afford to repair the damage until they heard about Rebuild Florida, a program developed to help long-term recovery efforts from recent hurricanes. The approved applicants would get their homes repaired or replaced. Many of them are low income and disabled.
They did an inspection, they did a walkthrough, they took tons of pictures.
The pictures, Jane says, led to promises.
I was so happy and surprised at all the work that was going to be done, basically to bring the house up to code for disability.
What does that scope of work include?
We were going to get ramps, 3 ramps, out the front door, side door, and back door.
Records obtained by 10 Investigate show the total project ended up costing $77,000.
From what they're telling me now, this is 3 ramps. You got 1.
But when Jane and her partner, Robert Myers, arrived back home,
2, and then 3.
And then it goes all the way across like that.
And then we have the crack along this one too.
according to this notice from Rebuild, the state says the project is complete.
And the window over here is still cracked.
That's why she fears that she's one of the statistics Florida Commerce is telling us. They say 3,651 homes have been completed in the Hurricane Irma home repair and replacement program.
We're still waiting for this window to be reinstalled.
But Jane says the project is far from complete.
It started to pop up.
After spending 433 days in a hotel room.
You're thinking 433 days out of your house. When you come back, this thing is going to has to look brand new. What takes 433 days?
It's going to look brand new. You know, everything's going to be nice and shiny and working. But no, as it turns out, I would come home every day to check the mail. And every day I would notice that no one's been here.
The hotel room costing taxpayers more than $86,000, records show. That total is more than the final scope of work the contractor charged for this project. It's their story that started our investigation, raising questions about the management and oversight of this $480 million program.
What was done at their home to be in a hotel for 453 days?
Working with our partners at First Coast News, we found numerous people who shared with us their hotel bills, costing $80,000, $100,000 to sometimes even $200,000 plus.
And that's just one of many that we've been hearing from. Will you send me that receipt? Do you have the receipt for the $100,000?
Yeah, I dropped it in that OneDrive.
That's when we started taking an even closer look at the contracts. Jane Moore's final scope of work was nearly double their original project cost at $41,000. We then found this 2022 audit pointing out that the state overspent. The audit looked at just 7 projects out of the roughly 4,000, saying the state overspent by more than $107,000 and misclassified another $134,000. Sean Moulton is with the nonpartisan watchdog group Project on Government Oversight.
I'm shocked that a project of this size, in terms of dollars, in terms of households that are being addressed, has a single public audit of 7 properties. It is simply insufficient when it comes to real robust oversight, which is what's needed here. This is taxpayers' money.
Our investigative team looked at dozens of other contracts. These tripled, quadrupled from their original price. One going from $103,000 to $877,000 of taxpayer money.
It raises serious questions about the overall management of the project.
Florida Commerce told 10 Investigate some of the scopes of work were done prior to the pandemic, and inflation was the major factor of the increase. One of the projects they also say turned out to be a historic property, which drove up cost.
When we go back to do the work, we find that there is other work required to put them back into the decent, safe, and sanitary home.
Moulton says he also questions the cost for hotel bills. We obtained an email between management at Rebuild questioning the spending of at least $83,000 for one person's room.
It's taxpayers' money, and it raises questions about prioritization of these projects.
But some homeowners say they were never made a priority. For Freddie Brooks of Jacksonville,
you see the red light? That's the alarm on the septic tank saying that the pump's not working.
The veteran has gotten his keys but has yet to move in because he says the contractor ran over the septic tank and it collapsed.
He drove up and down this place, right over the septic tank.
Families have complained repeatedly to state agencies like the Department of Business and Professional Regulation, the Attorney General's office, and the Governor's office. Those complaints were sent back to Florida Commerce. When we asked Florida Commerce for the number of complaints as well as the complaint forms received, we were told it would cost $4,830. For Jane Moore, nothing what you thought you guys were going to get done.
No.
She continues to complain.
Such a huge disappointment.
Until somebody answers.
400 days in a hotel room.
433.
What do you think about this program now that?
No, I think it's I hate to say a horrible program, because the program as initiated was a good program. It's been mishandled and misrepresented.
The good news in all of this is that Florida Commerce is listening. We are seeing major change because of this investigation, and they have been out to many of the properties we've shown you looking to fix their ongoing issues. Nice to meet you.
Hey, Justin.
Nice to meet you. Both of you, right? Yep. Okay, we'll put both of you guys right here.
An introduction months in the making after 10 Investigate sent email after email to Florida Commerce asking for answers to questions many are seeking.
Are they here for the trailer duty?
People like Mary Simpson, who's waited 4 years for a home.
They said it's going to be a couple of more hours and the trailer will be here. But okay, it's starting to get a little real now. Don't cry.
And Jane Moore, who spent 433 days in a hotel room to come back to a home far from complete.
Now we have the crack along this one too.
All recipients of Rebuild Florida, a program under Florida Commerce promising homes will be repaired or replaced. None thought it would take this long.
Projects that they thought would just take months took years. Some people, of course, are still waiting. Why?
Well, in some cases, the state of Florida didn't have enough funding for some of these individuals. The funding that Florida received from HUD for the IRMA program was not enough.
The state received $480 million earmarked for less than 4,000 homeowners. But as our investigation uncovered, contracts that started out at one price tripled or even quadrupled. At first, the state told us this.
There's not an invoice that's paid that's not scrutinized carefully.
The contracts were supposed to be overseen by the state vendor, IEM, a disaster recovery business that won a $250 million contract to oversee the rebuild program. According to IEM's website, they have been helping states all across the country with disaster recovery.
There's spackle on the walls, there's cracked windows, but they get a letter from Rebuild saying that this project is complete, even though they've complained and complained that this project is not complete. Hearing stuff like that, would you say a project like that is complete?
So we have our team on the ground. They've been communicating and visiting with these homeowners. And if they find anything that needs to be addressed, we are going to address it. These folks are our priority and we're going to help them.
And I want to add too, if our contractor signed off on something as complete, and if it's not actually consistent with the work, in other words, if they're essentially lying and they're saying something is complete but it's not complete, that could be an actual case of fraud.
5 days after first sitting down with us, in a follow-up interview with our Jacksonville reporting partners, the Florida Commerce Secretary said they've formally requested an official fraud investigation.
It's clear that the contractors had not actually, the subcontractors I should say, had not actually completed the work. Whatever was required in the agreement with the homeowner, they had not completed the work, and yet IEM signed off in the inspection. They signed off as complete, and credit to a number of these homeowners, they were able to literally show us that it was not complete.
So IEM could face fraud charges if the investigation finds fraud?
They could, yeah.
IEM declined an on-camera interview
in the aftermath of Hurricane Irma.
Instead, the CEO sent us a taped statement that said in part,
"We regret that a small percentage of residents are still waiting for their homes to be completed, and we understand their frustration. We won't be satisfied until we have resolved every possible unsettled problem."
It's the two cracked and this one that we've been waiting months now for.
But homeowners say complaints went unanswered for years.
They are pretty consistently telling us that they've left messages for IEM, not gotten phone calls back for some time.
After 10 Investigate sent a list of dozens of homeowners upset, the state responded, sending crews from Tallahassee across Florida to meet with rebuild recipients and see the failed repairs and rebuilds firsthand.
After we brought you guys these complaints and these findings from contracts, are there things that you guys are doing now differently?
We're on the ground. We're visiting with these homeowners, and we will ensure that if we find anything that we do not think is safe or decent, we'll repair it.
Help some have been waiting for years.
So I'm not sure how I'm going to measure his water.
This is
Oh, more of my cooking stuff, the rice and stuff, but not my cups. Okay. I'm going to say a prayer over this water.
it's I've been eating and drinking it.
Life can be a slow journey.
Let's give these a good mix.
But Mary Simpson,
I'm going to put a little extra cheese. Hunter, come on. Mama's home. Yeah! It's excitement. I'm coming home. I said, with or without beds, I'm coming home.
never thought this season would take this long.
We just wait.
The Simpsons were one of 4,000 families who signed up for Florida's Hurricane Irma Repair and Replacement Program. The state allocated $480 million of federal money it received to repair or replace homes damaged in the 2017 storm.
When it comes, it comes.
Mary says the following year, they were approved for a brand new home, but there were continuous delays month after month, year after year. No workers, no home until this spring.
Judy? Are they here for the trailer, Judy?
6 years later.
It's emotional to finally say I got a home. I got my own bathroom. I got my own kitchen. Everything is mine. I'm not in a motel.
In May, the Secretary of the Florida Department of Commerce, Alex Kelly, told us the hundreds of families still waiting should see the finish line by the end of July.
The job is to manage those cases, and the job is to get the homes completed and repaired, no matter how challenging it may be.
Yet, another missed mark.
We are definitely in Miami.
Across the state.
Oh, here it is. Just up here.
More than 200 families still wait.
So this is home?
Yes.
This mom of four has been living in a hotel room.
This is home for us. This is my son's little area. Over here is my daughter's area. He's a little more together than she is, believe it or not. He's a little more organized.
Katoya Wright says she initially signed up in 2018. Then 3 years later, she got her official paperwork from Rebuild Florida.
They told us 6 months to a year.
Waiting 6 years for her home, time feels like it's at a standstill.
It's really hard, because they're kids. So you don't want them running, you don't want them talking too loud. I get so emotional talking about the holidays, the birthdays. It's all spent here, and so you feel like you have nowhere to really go.
10 Investigate spent nearly a year going over the program's contracts. From Katoya's to Jane Moore's in Tampa to Brenda Hughes in Clearwater, what we uncovered? questionable contractor spending, scope of works doubling, tripling, even quadrupling. At one point, the former Secretary of Economic Opportunity even reached out to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, saying there wasn't enough money to complete all the homes.
It's taxpayers' money.
We sent our findings to the Project on Government Oversight, a nonpartisan watchdog group.
I'm shocked that a project of this size, in terms of dollars, in terms of households that are being addressed, has a single public audit of 7 properties.
Sean Moulton says that Rebuild needs to do a better job at watching the bottom line.
It is simply insufficient when it comes to real robust oversight, which is what's needed here.
And then there are the mounting hotel bills. Mary Simpson stayed in a hotel for almost a year. Jane Moore says she and her partner were in a hotel for 433 days. For Katoya Wright, it's been 3 years.
That is necessities for right now, and that's kind of all you can fit in here.
So how much is all of this costing? Katoya's room averages $120 a night. You multiply that by just 30 days, the state is paying over $3,000 a month for the rights to stay here, all while the state refused to allow them to just rent a home. A quick look at what's available in their neighborhood is far below the cost of a hotel stay.
It's 4 bedrooms and so it's supposed to be 2 full baths.
The Wrights met us in their neighborhood to see the construction. They're now told their new home should be completed by October.
Katoya.
Hi, how are you, Senator Jones?
We also had State Senator Chevron Jones meet us there. Katoya's home is in his district.
The state, we owe her an apology. I also think we owe it to these individuals to follow through on what we said that we were going to do. And the fact that she's been in this predicament for 7 years, it falls on the state.
When 10 Investigates reached out to Senator Jones, we sent him the same email we sent to every single senator in Florida, asking about the delays in the multi-million-dollar state-run program. Those that got back to us all said they were unaware.
How is that possible that this went on for so long and no lawmaker is aware of this?
You know what's crazy? If we don't hear from the constituents and they don't share that this is happening, now that I know, now we're going to do something about it.
2 days after this interview, Senator Jones sent this letter to Secretary Kelly, an urgent request for an audit of the Rebuild Florida contract with IEM. That's the third-party contractor that won a $252 million deal with the state to oversee all of the rebuild projects. When we reached out to IEM back in May, they refused to do an on-camera interview and answer questions. Instead, a PR agency sent us this video of CEO Brian Kuhn.
We won't be satisfied until we have resolved every possible unsettled problem.
Sure. The request that went into the president today will have 3 components.
10 Investigates learned Kuhn was the former director of the Florida Division of Emergency Management when Hurricane Irma hit. Now, he's CEO of the company that even Secretary Kelly says is falling short.
If our contractor signed off on something as complete, and if it's not actually consistent with the work, in other words, if they're essentially lying and they're saying something is complete but it's not complete, that could be an actual case of fraud.
He told us that the state has withheld money from IEM for not finishing deadlines on time. He questioned their organization of contracts after we showed him those mounting hotel bills, and he also says he was unaware of the homeowners' complaints, saying although the complaint form is on the state's website, the messages were all filed off to IEM to handle.
They're saying they were contacting IEM pretty consistently. They were very happy to see one of our staff or hear from one of our team giving them a phone call. But they are pretty consistently telling us that they've left messages for IEM, not gotten phone calls back for some time.
After this interview, he told us the state would be launching a fraud investigation over the inaccuracies. But then later, the state told us the contractor resolved the issue.
This is simply people weren't watching.
IEM's contract ended with the state on July 25th. The company says about 95% of the projects have been completed.
I feel trapped, lied to, deceived.
And now with a new disaster recovery agency in charge.
This has been life-changing.
Katoya, once again, has a new caseworker.
Did you ever think that 7 years later, this is where you would be?
Oh God, no. Never imagined that this is where I would be.
This here is our kitchen, which I love our kitchen. Refrigerator, and then my little nook there.
Mary finally has the keys, but her home, with 20 steps up to the front door, has been a longer journey than she expected. With a few more surprises.
It's just loose, see?
Along the way.
Handrail? We gotta leave that there.
The
Turn it on.
fixture is loose.
There's a window here, the door's here, and I have no idea why they would want to put a power box out there.
The meaning of the program is good, but finding out that it was not planned out properly is my only issue.
So this is just one box. I bought these, I want to say 2 years ago, on sale. They're all different colors. They're red, white, and blue. Everything stays boxed up. I can't get, it's just disgusting. It's okay, because there's people that are in hotel rooms right now, and I'm still in my house.
It's a box full of what should be holiday cheer.
Decorating for Christmas. A half-gutted living room. I put a Christmas tree up the week of Christmas because my husband said, no, we're putting a tree up, because I was like disgusted.
Instead, the thought of it brings Tara Wood to tears.
The last thing I want to do is be standing here right now doing this, okay, for a plethora of reasons. I'm doing this because I don't want other people to have to go through this.
This is Florida's Hurricane Irma rebuild and replacement program's delays. Wood says after the Category 4 storm, she was one of the first to sign up for the rebuild program in 2018. But it wasn't until 2021 that workers started taking the old windows out of her family's home.
This just failed the inspection. So this has failed the inspection. It's not done right.
It's been 6 years and her home?
So this is our caution tape that's around there.
A construction site.
When I tell you it, we've been through a lot.
Wood is one of the dozens of people who emailed 10 Investigates telling us they were still waiting for Rebuild, a state-run program using $480 million of your tax dollars to repair and replace homes damaged by Hurricane Irma. 4,000 Florida families were given contracts stating once construction began, it would take anywhere from 6 months to a year. Not 6 years and counting.
This is the 7 Mile Bridge.
It's why we hit the road down to the Florida Keys.
Oh wow, here we are. This is it.
To Tara's home. She says initially, contractors replaced the windows and doors in her Big Pine Key home incorrectly.
The slider upstairs leaked into our living room. This has been gutted since November of 2022.
It's been like this.
It's been like this. This is
all
my half
because
living.
of construction from rebuild contractors.
Correct.
Let's put this on quick.
Just minutes away in Little Torch Key.
I think they only had the smalls. There you go. Stretches a little bit.
It was rebuild contractors who delivered this brand new home that's not even livable.
I mean, you can see the black mold, and it's actively growing.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah, this was one of the worst rooms.
That's all mold down there?
Yep.
Tom Kylian says they got the keys in March 2023.
In both showers, you can see the damage here. From day one, they leaked because they didn't connect them properly.
But within a few months, their family moved back out.
Wasted money the state has done.
Mold reports show the place was inundated.
Oh, it's still growing.
This was supposed to be Pamela's mom's home to live out her golden years.
It was her dream. She couldn't believe it when I told her, they're going to build you a house.
She signed paperwork with Rebuild Florida back in 2018. A project they were told in writing would take months, took years.
I'm sorry we ever got involved with Rebuild Florida. You can make me cry. No excuse for how long it took.
It's now too late. Pamela's mom, Gracie, died at age 87, not getting to see the new home.
I miss her.
No more memories.
wasn't supposed to be like this.
Holidays together.
It certainly wasn't supposed to be like this.
And still no house.
We would have brought her home. This mold would have killed her anyway.